Let me do a double check. Today is June 25th, 2021, and I survived the 2021 school year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I did not quit, I did not retire, and I plan to return in the fall. So it's been pretty successful from what I can feel. So last summer, we had kind of a prediction or questions or concerns about what last school year was going to be like. And some of my big concern centered around PPE, the protective gear. And I had all these questions. So I worry about things such as, how do we have enough PPEs for our staff and our students? Who supplies them? How do we afford them? I think about, how do I keep our kids safe? How do I keep myself safe? There are a lot of what ifs. And I feel when I sit back and reflect about the 2021 school year, I feel we spent a lot of time being reactive versus being proactive.
Indeed.
So as we encountered new obstacles, as we encountered new hurdles, that we were reacting to it, not necessarily being proactive and thinking ahead, simply because we didn't know what we needed to do. So when I started in the fall, when I started in August of 20, I had already, my husband and I had already gone out and bought my own PPE. I didn't even wait for the school district to decide what they were or were not going to do for us. So I spent a part of my personal home budget on PPEs all of last year. And so at times, like the first week of having the kids in the building, it was hectic trying to get into a routine with COVID protocol. But once we got into a rhythm, I was laughing because that was the least of our concerns, really. When we got down to it, having personal protective equipment was the least of our concerns. It was actually, the second part of that was talking about really what the whole year was wrapped around. My school year was dependent on the actions of others. If you broke it down to the nitty gritty, what parents, what adults did or did not do really dictated whether or not we were in the classroom or not. I have questions. What happens when, not if, but when we have a positive case?
And it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. You're going to put all these kids together with families, and we can't monitor what families do and don't do. Right? We have all these variables. We have practiced social distancing. We have practiced kind of keeping our group very tiny. But has every family done that? No. They don't have that luxury. They don't have that luxury. So my question and a big concern of mine is, what happens when we have a positive case? It really did happen. That did come true. That we were really dependent about, if the virus spread, it was really dependent on what the adults around us were doing, whether we were in the classroom or we were remote. So
Do you feel like parents were controlling some of those decisions?
No, I think, I happen to work in a Title I school, and our parents have to work.
Right.
And a lot of our families were those hourly workers that did not have an option to work from home. They had to work out in the field. They were exposed day in and day out. And so what would happen is there were a lot of policies and protocols in place for last year, and I can go back up and kind of explain some of them. But the deal is that if a family member outside of the school tested positive, that student or that family member was originally sent home for 14 days. 14 days, including weekends, school days, because they were exposed. The rest of the school and the rest of that class got to stay in person because they were considered, quote unquote, a secondary exposure. Now, if I had a kiddo in my class come down with COVID, all of us were sent home because we were exposed.